I've been in a few communities that are absolutely gorgeous that honestly I could move into today. I feel like, I'd enjoy that. One, I would love someone to figure out almost the timeshare model for senior living, which is like I could have a base community, but if I want to go to Florida, I know I could get my meds and my care in Florida for a couple of weeks on the beach with my family. I could go to New York. I could go, travel from place to place, for a couple of weeks at a time and just know that I have a caregiver there that knows my individual needs.
For me, and it is, I don't mean for this to sound like sentimental, but I actually see this a little bit. So my parents are in their 80s and they go serve in a senior living community once a week in their neighborhood. and I've gone with them, and the individuals that are in that community clearly are much worse off than my parents are. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is more of like a skilled nursing kind of a community. It leans a little bit heavier that direction. The thing I recognize is my parents derive a ton of satisfaction in providing value to somebody else. And I think that might be something that potentially is missing out of a lot of senior living communities. Is I think the terror that I would have if I had to make that decision to say, like, okay, I'm moving into a senior living community, is this feeling of I'm not adding value anymore to life. Yeah. I'm now a burden on society. And so they're putting me into a place where they can take care of me the most efficient way possible. Mm-hmm. And they're going to do it by putting me in a room, and nurses will come by and check on me. But even if it's something small, but it's like, okay, there's service opportunities. Because as I think about the aging process, I've heard it said that, the first part of your career is you're trying to gain technical knowledge about the industry that you're passionate about, and that there's a steep learning curve. And then the second part of your career is where you become more wise, and you're like, oh, I see how all of these things work together. And then the last part of the career is when you're trying to distribute that knowledge and that wisdom onto the next generation. Mm-hmm. And then you have the non-career moment where you have all of this knowledge, all of this capability.
I figured it out, and now I can't do anything with
and everybody's like, hey, yeah, Grandpa, just go sit over in the corner there and watch TV.
Right.
I think that would frustrate me to death.
Yeah.
And I think we just do that a lot with our seniors, and we just sort of, yeah, whatever. You're crazy. Mm-hmm. You make off-color comments all the time. That's inappropriate. But in reality, like,
this is future or today? Not with you.
Hopefully not. But I think that's the thing I keep thinking is there a way that, I guess we're talking about in our future, right? Yeah. I would want to feel like until my last day on this earth, I feel like I'm doing something of value.
Right.
Anyway.
There's some, I think there's cool opportunities that maybe are getting missed.
Yeah.
Just because we, write off the aging generation.
When I was in Hawaii, I was in the hot tub and talking to this group.
Speaking of off-color.
Brag. No, but there was a guy that he wasn't old enough to move into senior living. So he had basically decided, but he had clearly made enough money that he just wanted to travel. That's what he was just doing all the time. And so he was chatting me up about like, so what do you do? And it was before we had even raised a dime. Mm-hmm. And I said, well, we're raising capital. We're doing this. And he started just spewing out like golden nuggets of insight. And so then I asked him, he's like, he had managed like major private equity firms.
Oh, wow.
And he's just like, well, let me tell you about this. And like, talk to me about your pitch and what are you doing? And like, who are you trying to cater to? And what kind of VCs do you want? And I'm sitting there thinking, okay, this dude is giving me gold.
Yeah.
And he's just happy to give it to me for free because I'm guaranteed he's like, dude, I've made my fortunes.
Yeah. That's awesome.
I'm not trying to prove anything anymore. Anyway, so it was those kind of things. I'm like, that's super fascinating.
That's awesome.